Welcome to the 9th letter in the Majuscule series for Copperplate. I'm using an oblique holder with a learned principal EF nib dipped in watercolor ink. I will put information on this in the description box because I feel like if you've been watching from the beginning, then it's pretty straightforward. Today we're doing the letter I. My X height is always 5mm, so my majuscule height will be 15mm. So with a letter I, you want to start with the universal line of beauty. To something like this. So that you've got the top should be parallel. Oh, hold on. I'll do that in a second. I am gonna just finish this off. Okay. Right, let me clean this off. And then we'll talk about analytics. Okay, so you have here your, I can go down here, there's a lot of space. Your universal line of beauty, which as normal should be at the top. So this bit right here should be parallel to the second ascender line. And at the very bottom should be running parallel or able to run parallel with the baseline. The middle third approximately. So here is my middle third. Is the thickest part of the letter, with the top and bottom thirds being spent slowly turning to be parallel to the horizontal lines. Okay, so we have got, excuse me, we've got a pretty simple letter. You can just add a terminus dot here. You can continue it on. The difficulty is that if you flourish too much here, then it can start to look like a J. So although J will be the next letter and there's a fundamental difference, if you do flourish on this other side, so let's say we did something simple like this. Turn that on a bit, there we go. So say we continued on flourishing on the bottom, it means that it's got a risk of becoming too J-like. So I do think the most legible way of drawing an I is to keep this bit as a terminus dot. I'll try and explain that right here. So if we go left hand side, there we go, I'll just push that into frame. So can't be overly flourished. Otherwise, J. All right. So it's best to keep that area simple. It's hard in an I to actually distinguish where your legibility box is. The simplest way of explaining it is that the I is primarily just a straight line up and down. In Copperplate, we do not do serifed things like this. If we were to do something like that within the constraints of strokes that we have available to us. Sorry, I've had a cough the last few days, but if we were to do something serifed, then you're talking about it looking very different. So it's looking very much like an L rather than an I, which I'd like to avoid. So we do normally keep the top and the bottom to as much of a minimum as possible. You can flourish in this area right here. So this is I'm in frame there. A flourishable area. Obviously in an eye we have a contained oval right here and a second contained oval along the bottom, both of which are on the slant line. Just be mindful that when you're doing this flourish right here, it may help you to, like I did, to stop. Just do your universal line of beauty and then do the top flourish. I find it very hard to go all in one, because when you start at the bottom of an oval, you are then limiting yourself for how far over the universal line of beauty can go. If you intersect this line, you're going to lose the legibility of your eye. So if I move this over here, I think I'm still in, yeah, I am. I'm in frame now. So if I do this right here, so we've got universal line of beauty. If I crossed over this line right here, I think we're getting into sort of F territory, because this will look like a part that is meant to be red in the letter, because your legibility box is basically here. Yeah. So if we label that here, so legibility, am I still in frame? Yes. I find it so hard to manage that. So legibility box is very much in the middle. So if you do cross that over, so therefore avoid bisection. Or crossing. Okay. So we should have in an eye, if I do a few variations here, because it is possible to have a few different variations of eye. It's just, it's one of those letters where you've got to be very, very careful with, otherwise it will end up looking like others. So universal line of beauty. Then still in frame there, I think. Oh, just about. Okay, so you can flourish a little bit on this left hand side as long as it does not cross, and it is up to you whether you want to do a slight loop here, or if you want to keep it as a pointed turn here. So an I is a roughly simple letter. I don't think it would take very long at all to actually analyze. As long as you keep it as legible as possible, then it will read correctly. We'll go over a J in next video, and it'll be sort of obvious how to not confuse the two as much as possible because they do look very similar. Thanks a lot.